takes off right here.
This first plane rollout is one of many that's going to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it comes. Your 787.
It is literally the envy of the world when it comes to commercial aircraft.
One person doesn't build an airplane. It takes all these thousands of people.
From end to end, every function is checked, triple checked, to make sure the plane can fly with its own wings.
But it seemed like the more problem children had the run of the show.
Every day, around 100,000 commercial flights crisscross the globe.
Where Lion Air Flight 610 went down, the authorities have been bringing in relatives of some of the 189 passengers and crew.
Safety is at the core of who we are at Boeing.
There were warnings from inside Boeing.
I've been a whistleblower my entire time at Boeing. It just didn't really get any ears until recently.
This terrible air disaster that took place.
I literally saw people jumping on the pieces of the airplane to get them to align.
These are your employees, and they have said that they're not listened to, that they're retaliated against, that they're threatened. That's the reality of Boeing today.
You were getting a bit of a reputation.
Yeah, that was towards the end. They gave me the nickname of Showstopper.
I'm investigative reporter Ann Emerson, and you're not going to believe the stories we've been told about what was allegedly going on inside Boeing. Concealing issues, cutting corners, falsifying records. Why are past and present employees putting their reputations and possibly their lives on the line? They say they're doing it to keep us safe.
I sent him one last text message and I told him, I'm gonna finish what we started.
First at 5, we have a lot of new details tonight in the death of John Barnett, the man who reported unsafe practices at Boeing production lines, who was found dead in Charleston Saturday.
2 Boeing whistleblowers dead within weeks of each other. Conspiracy theories take off.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Would you fly one of those planes? Would you fly a 737?
I have, but I get very nervous. I get very nervous, and like I'm a believer, so I start praying.
What is it about it that you love about flying?
I just love airplanes. I like the way they operate.
Roy Irvin started working at Boeing, South Carolina on the 787 Dreamliner in 2009.
I was the quality investigator.
Checking for any possible issues before the plane's first flight. Critical not only to the company's success.
I was proud to work with the Boeing company. I was proud of my responsibility.
But for anyone who boarded a Boeing plane.
Not only are there 300 people on some of those airplanes, but each one of those people have loved ones at home, mothers, fathers, children.
Roy was not alone. Boeing attracted plenty of top talent.
Josh was an amazing man, very smart, and everything had to be proven to him with math and science.
Who understood this profound responsibility.
That's what's at stake. His life's at stake. The safety of the public is at stake.
Boeing was founded in 1916 and for 85 years prided itself on its engineering prowess.
Remember where you were on this day.
Yet after its merger with aviation company McDonnell Douglas, Boeing moved headquarters from its aviation roots in the Pacific Northwest to the bustling commerce of the Windy City. That move signaled a change in motto and mentality. In a 2004 interview with the Chicago Tribune, Boeing's new CEO at the time, Harry Stonecipher, said,
"When people say I changed the culture of Boeing, that was the intent. So it's run like a business rather than a great engineering firm."
It was money, because they would lose money if they didn't deliver the unit on time. When it came to midnight, it was like a rush, and they were like showstopper, because if there was a hiccup that was gonna prolong something that when we had a deadline of midnight, then of course they don't like that.
Early warnings would surface. Internal Boeing documents released, where its own employees mocked Boeing's commitment to safety and quality.
The company's been infiltrated with that type of people, with that type of mentalities. you know, the bean counters, I like to call them pencil necks, you know, that just don't have the heart for the airplane.
Concern grew that Boeing was flying in the wrong direction.
Designed by clowns who are in turn supervised by monkeys is how one Boeing pilot described production of the 737 MAX series planes.
And tragically, the heart of Boeing would take a catastrophic hit.
This terrible air disaster that took place where Lion Air Flight 610 went down.
2 deadly crashes in 5 months. 346 people dead.
Safety is at the core of who we are at Boeing.
Then, this happened 5 years later. And this. How? With every move scrutinized, Boeing faced a new crisis.
Senator, I don't recognize any of the Boeing you described.
Really?
And I want to assure...
You don't recognize the Boeing that has airplanes falling out of the sky? That has had 2 Maxes crash, that has had pieces of doors fall out of the sky?
If Boeing really changed, things would have been different after the two-place crash.
The Showstoppers that threatened to expose Boeing. We've tracked them down across the country, and we've spoken to the people that are trying to keep them safe, while federal, possible criminal, and civil investigations uncover a culture of concealment at America's aviation Goliath.
I raised concerns internally. I was sidelined. I was told to shut up. I received physical threats. My boss said, I would have killed someone who said what you said in a meeting.
But to get here, let's go back to 2018. October 29th, Lion Air Flight 610, a practically brand new Boeing 737 MAX 8, crashes in Indonesia. 189 passengers and crew members dead. 5 months later, it happens again on another 737 MAX 8. 157 more people dead. 2020 and 2021, Boeing starts to feel the heat from the feds. January 2024, an in-flight nightmare on a Boeing 737 MAX, more than 16,000 feet in the air.
Are you telling us that even 2 months later, you still do not know who actually opened the door plug?
That's correct, Senator. We don't know, and it's not for lack of trying.
March 6, 2024, the NTSB says Boeing isn't cooperating. And a day later, the wheel falls off, literally.
You're the problem. And I just hope to God that you don't destroy this company before it can be saved.
Coming up, terrible timing for Boeing.
The hospital called and said that Josh couldn't breathe on his own and they had him intubated.
After whistleblowers wind up dead.
I'm not sure if he's unconscious or asleep, but he has a firearm in his hand.
Embarrass me for his moving at all?
No.
John Barnett worked for Boeing for 32 years, half of which he spent as a quality manager, and 7 of the years at Boeing, South Carolina. His job was to get Boeing's Dreamliner off the ground safely.
All the problems that, were being publicized about safety issues and all weighed heavily on him.
John Barnett was a Boeing whistleblower, but he was a son and a brother first.
I'm Rodney Barnett, the oldest of 4 brothers. John is our baby brother.
John found his wings in aviation, first building space shuttles, and later at Boeing.
He loved it.
I transferred to Charleston in 2010 to help set up the plant here and get it rolling.
After John left Boeing, South Carolina in 2017, he moved back to Louisiana to help his mom, his brothers, be with family. By then, his second wife passed away. I spoke to Jennifer Baldwin, a family friend of the Barnetts.
I said, "You're not scared?" And he said, "Nah, I'm not scared." And he said, "But if anything happens, it's not suicide."
The trouble started when John came to Boeing, South Carolina.
In documents filed by John Barnett, he reported that he and other quality managers were pressured to violate FAA standards as well as Boeing's own policies. He was worried about a catastrophic event. Problems included inspections not being performed, defective parts, wiring hazards. He put his concerns in an ethics complaint, and for that, he says Boeing retaliated against him.
He had thousands of documents demonstrating his complaints and demonstrating the retaliation against him, where they subjected him to a hostile work environment.
We reached out to Boeing about the complaint Barnett filed against the company as part of his lawsuit. The company sent this statement.
Boeing reviewed and addressed quality issues that Mr. Barnett raised before he retired in 2017, as well as other quality issues referred to in the complaint about its 2020 disposition of Mr. Barnett's claims.
And in March 2024, he was 3 months away from his federal labor trial against Boeing.
He wasn't looking forward to the trip, but he was happy to go do it because he knew what the result was going to be.
He was in Charleston with his lawyers and Boeing's lawyers for days of depositions. On March 8th, John left early and went to his hotel.
He was getting tired, so we ended the deposition instead of finishing it on Friday night with the intent on finishing it on Saturday morning.
It was the last day anyone would see him alive.
Hotel surveillance video captured John Barnett leaving the Holiday Inn here in Charleston at 8:37 p.m. At 8:45 p.m., the same video captures his truck going into this parking spot right here. Now, according to the police report, no one entered or exited that truck. But 14 hours later, John Barnett is found dead in the driver's seat of that truck.
At the time, we could only believe what we were told. Then when he told me that was just hard to believe. From when my mother had talked to him and my second brother had talked to him, there was no indication from from what they were saying that he was in this state of mind. So it was just very hard for us to grasp that that would happen.
Police initially said it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
I couldn't believe it. He couldn't have done that. He loved his mom. He loved his brothers. He loved being around family. He loved doing things. He wasn't depressed or upset or worried.
We reached out to Boeing after Barnett's death. They sent us a statement.
We are saddened by Mr. Barnett's passing, and our thoughts are with his family and friends.
The days and weeks went by with Charleston police digging through Barnett's life. The police concluded that John wrote this note and shot himself before finishing his depositions. The coroner agreed. He died by suicide.
John was suffering from PTSD and anxiety.
He went to the doctor and they told him that he was suffering from PTSD.
What do you think happened?
I think somebody didn't like what he had to say and wanted to shut him up.
We're not going to let his death go in vain. Everything that John has brought up, all of his concerns, everything that he's been saying that they were taking shortcuts on, they've been proved out in the air. The Alaskan Airlines, they had the door plugged. That was one of his concerns.
In the midst of the Barnett death investigation, another whistleblower in the headlines.
Josh don't get sick, And that was the first time boy was ever in the hospital his whole life.
Dennis Green was more than Josh Dean's stepfather.
I was his mentor. I was his confidant.
45-year-old Josh Dean was exactly the type of person you would want to work on planes. He held degrees in medicine, biomolecular science, and engineering.
Josh was an amazing man, very smart. Everything had to be proven to him with math and science.
Josh worked for Spirit Aerosystems, a supplier of Boeing 737 MAX fuselage and the cockpit section of the 787. In October 2022, Josh noticed a problem of misdrilled holes, documenting the findings and telling colleagues.
They said he wasn't doing his job, but they told him basically he was spending too much time on it.
Josh was fired. But then, Spirit validated Josh's concerns. It released a statement that said,
"We're aware of a quality issue involving elongated fastener holes on the aft pressure bulkhead on certain models of the 737 fuselage produced by Spirit Aerosystems."
December 2023, Spirit shareholders sued the company, and Dean also filed a lawsuit against Spirit, saying the company retaliated against him.
Josh was, like, first and foremost, he just wanted to, to clear his name. But, he wanted it. He did. He wanted Spirit accountable.
Spirit strongly disagrees with the assertions made by plaintiffs in the amended complaint and intends to vigorously defend against the claims.
A severe case of strep throat landed Josh in the hospital.
That was when he was on the ECMO machine, the life support. That was what was keeping him alive.
Josh died about 2 weeks later, on April 30th, 2024.
Our thoughts are still very much with Josh Dean's family following their sudden loss.
Yet just like John's loved ones, Josh's family had their doubts.
Josh had the same routine. He was a creature of habit for sure. If anybody was trying to do something to you, it wouldn't be hard to do.
2 whistleblowers, more than 1,200 miles apart, dead within 2 months of each other. News spread fast, and there was a lot of interest.
A lot of people are coming forward now, and I think they are inspired by Josh and John and other whistleblowers who have come forward.
And 2 of them agreed to sit down with me after the deaths of John Barnett and Josh Dean.
I was never hurt, and I'm hoping that right now, by me saying so much, that I am being hurt.
I've been a whistleblower my entire time at Boeing. It just didn't really get any ears until recently. So
Roy Irvin worked side by side with John Barnett on the 787.
He was, a lighthouse for the whistleblower activity. He was probably the first, one of the pioneers, I'd say.
Roy investigated issues with the planes. His job was to make sure those problems were permanently fixed.
When you would see a problem, what happened?
When I would see a problem, and then we would try to pursue corrective action, at times, certain time periods in the factory, my leadership, my quality leadership, would discourage us and would tell us not to write or pursue corrective actions.
What did you think when that happened?
I pushed back almost every time. I was told directly by a senior quality leader not to pursue a corrective action after I'd already agreed to do one.
So you knew you were right?
I knew I was right, yeah.
Is the term gaslighting appropriate?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that was, and that's a common practice at the Boeing company, yes.
He left Boeing in 2020.
Our purpose today is to hear from whistleblowers.
Roy submitted a letter as a whistleblower to the Senate committee investigating Boeing. Boeing responded.
We continuously encourage employees to report concerns, as our priority is to ensure the safety of our airplanes and the flying public.
Now Roy lives 2 hours from the nearest airport.
I knew I would miss it. I knew it would be probably difficult, but I just needed a breath of fresh air.
Things have not improved, they've gotten worse.
Santiago Paredes is still in the aerospace industry, just not for Boeing or its supplier, Spirit Aerosystems. Santiago inspected the fuselage before it was shipped to Boeing. He said there were constantly issues. A big one was called FOD. That's foreign object debris that can damage an aircraft. He says hundreds of small metal shavings were left in the fuselage as mechanics hurried through the checklists.
It just takes one little metal shaving to fall in the wrong place to create something even more disastrous.
Santiago's job was to approve the fuselage for the 737 MAX before it was shipped to Boeing. There was a lot of pressure. If Spirit didn't make that deadline, heads could roll.
It was money, because they would lose money if they didn't deliver the unit on time. And midnight was the deadline.
But he earned the title, the Showstopper, for refusing to sign off.
A rush, and they were like, Showstopper.
Disillusioned, Santiago left Spirit and joined Josh in a shareholders lawsuit against the company. He did so anonymously, but Santiago says Spirit did not stop.
Spirit reached out to my current employer, and they were like, hey, just in case you didn't know, Santiago is one of the whistleblowers in the lawsuit.
His new employer supported Santiago as a whistleblower, and when Josh passed away, Santiago kept writing to his friend with a promise.
I sent him one last text message, and I told him, I'm going to finish what we started.
For these Showstoppers, These whistleblowers, their mission goes back to the founding principles of Boeing, outlined more than 100 years ago.
This is not a design issue. This is not a mistake that just happened. This is a culture problem. If Boeing really changed, things would have been different after the place crashed.
We need more whistleblowers. Not only in Boeing, but we need them in the airline, in their maintenance departments.
But even with dozens more whistleblowers coming forward, we had to ask,
is Boeing too big to fail?
So far they have been. They have been up to this point. But I think they need some serious regulatory intervention.
I think the problem's with you. You. It's the C-suite. It's the management. It's what you've done to this company. That's where the problem is.
The hearings and depositions go on, as does the criminal probe into Boeing by the federal government.
Now, for the first time in decades, Americans are more and more nervous about flying your American-made planes.
Whistleblowers come before they've sat right where you have sat and told us these are your employees. And they have said that they're not listened to, that they're retaliated against, that they're threatened. That's the reality of Boeing today.
Along with the outrage comes fear. That is only outweighed by courage, the courage to speak up.
It really scares me, believe me, but I am at peace. You know, if something happens to me, I am at peace because I feel like by coming forward, I will be saving a lot of lives and I'm at peace. Whatever happens, it happens.
Since John Barnett's death in March 2024, we've reached out to Boeing for interviews. Each time, our requests have been denied.
Mr. Calhoun, you may proceed.
Thank you for inviting me to appear before you today.
But Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun did talk to congressional leaders on June 18, 2024.
I would like to apologize on behalf of all of our Boeing associates spread throughout the world.
Boeing and Spirit Aerosystems have sent us statements about the deaths of John Barnett and Josh Dean, and about the allegations from the whistleblowers. Still, questions remain. As of this report, we're still waiting on the coroner's report and the autopsy in Josh Dean's death. The Justice Department is also deciding whether to criminally prosecute Boeing. Either way, lawmakers want Boeing held accountable.
I think that the evidence is near overwhelming.
Lawyers for the whistleblowers tell me that they have at least another 10 witnesses coming forward.
You said you've listened to the whistleblowers. Have you directly spoken to any of the whistleblowers?
I have not directly spoken to any of the whistleblowers.
John Barnett's lawsuit is scheduled to go to trial February 10th, 2025. That's after mediation failed with Boeing. John's family will represent his estate.
My team and I are digging into every angle of this story, from the investigation into the company to the whistleblowers to the fallout. This story is still up in the air.